Frank, the man behind Franco TV, is no stranger to exploring the places most people avoid after dark. But in this episode, he ventures into one of his most unnerving locations yet, a secluded cemetery buried deep within the woods. His goal is simple: to spend the night there and document any signs of paranormal activity. But what he experiences instead goes far beyond what he ever expected. A night filled with strange noises, eerie discoveries, and an overwhelming feeling that something unseen is watching him. From the moment Frank steps into the forest, the atmosphere feels wrong. The trees crowd around him, his flashlight barely piercing the darkness, and the silence feels alive. It's not an empty quiet. It's a silence that waits.
Where's my flashlight? So I have a good look around this place. That's creepy. One thing for sure is that every time I come out here, I always get like this Blair Witch vibes. The other thing, I'm already hearing something. Okay. I'm already spooked out going through here. I just heard a knocking. 100% I just heard a knocking. Hello? My life. There's a knocking coming from within the forest right now. I heard it right over here.
The first sounds are easy enough to dismiss: a branch breaking, maybe a distant animal. But soon, the noises grow heavier, more deliberate. They echo through the trees in a way that feels almost intentional. Still, Frank pushes deeper into the woods, clinging to the hope that whatever he's hearing is something supernatural, not something human.
Oh, God. Oh, God. That's somebody's puppy. That's their dog. They're unburied for some reason. Someone unburied somebody's dog. That's his teeth right there. Poor thing. One thing that makes me nervous on going in here is that as soon as you step in, it's like all the trees stop moving, the birds stop moving. All the animals are just watching me as if they're waiting to see what's going to happen, you know? Like if they're watching another predator getting ready to get me. And that would be like, I'm just thinking of the mountain lion. But I am getting other things that are not mountain lions. So right now, I just heard what sound like branches and something kind of shuffling through the forest. Right in front of me. Damn it. It sounded big too. Listen. What the hell is that? I'm hearing bangs now.
When he finally reaches the edge of the cemetery, the air itself seems to change. The forest stills. No rustling leaves, no chirping insects, just an eerie stillness that makes every breath sound too loud. Then, from somewhere beyond the tree line, a voice-like sound breaks through. It's faint, drawn out, almost human, but wrong.
Coming from here. Oh, that's creepy. It sounds like somebody saying you. The thing is that vegetation is super dense right in front of me, so I can't really see past that area. It sounds human. Hola.
The thick vegetation blocks his view, and whatever is making the sound stays hidden. Despite the growing dread, Frank refuses to turn back. But the deeper he goes, the more the tension builds. The sounds seem to circle him. Footsteps, movement, whispers. The realization hits him. Whatever's out there isn't hiding anymore. It wants to be heard.
So I just had to back out of the forest for a second. This happened again with the cameras off. This is all happening like randomly. But I just heard what sounded like a loud sound of a baby crying deep from the forest. I want to see if you guys could hear it. I'm going to keep quiet for a second. What? Something's in there. Something definitely is in there. I'm going to turn on my flashlight. Let's turn on the IR. Holy shit. I am literally creeped out to the bone right now. What the f*** is that? I am ready to run. I got all my gear on me just in case. Holy shit.
Feeling surrounded and increasingly uneasy, Frank makes a practical decision. He checks his GPS and reroutes through an off-road trail that might lead him safely to the other side of the cemetery, giving him both a better approach and a quick exit if things go wrong.
I'm gonna walk a little bit closer. What the fuck? Something's moving in there. So now I'm parked here towards the other side. This is getting closer towards the city area. I had to go off-road with this thing. But I found a better route. So that way I'm a little bit more safer, so I could just get the hell out if worst case scenario type of thing. This is the forest right here in front of me. I made it all the way back out. That's one of the entrances that leads you to it. I am going to be honest, I'm scared. I am a little bit closer right now. I'm just next to the truck. And I am still hearing this thing saying Aki. And that means that I'm right here or over here. Like over here. And at the same time, well, see, there it is again. And I'm hearing movement in the forest, I swear, and I'm not seeing anything. But I could hear movement in there, and it's like in multiple areas. I do not feel safe going inside right now by myself. Hello? I'm gonna turn on my flashlight. There it is. You hear it? Again, but I can't go inside. I'm like watering up right now for how freaking creepy this is.
Yet, even near his truck, the noises continue. Soft voices, shifting positions, moving from one side of the forest to the other. Frank scans the tree line, but no one's there. Just sound, just suggestion.
Do you see it? I just heard it over here. I'm gonna zoom out. Again, this is just another part of the cemetery on the backside. But there's still more that goes way deeper inside. But I don't feel safe. Okay, so I've made it closer towards the front. I am grabbing every bit of energy that I can to do this, because I'm already like kind of freaked out. I wanna finish this. I'm just happy I found another way I could come in here and not have to go through the same way from back there. There's the knocking again. ¿Cómo se llama? Look at that. There's somebody back there. There's people here. All right, at this point now, I am going to go ahead and wrap it up. It's about 4 to 5 in the morning right now. The sun's going to be up soon. And I am freaking out. My anxiety levels are through the... What the f*** is that? Holy shit. Nope. Give me a second. That was close. I am not sure what the hell is going on with this.
Finally, at the cemetery's entrance, he decides to call it a night. What began as a search for the paranormal ends with more questions than answers. Frank came looking for ghosts, but what he found felt far too human. So, what do you think was out there that night? Deep in the woods of Bear Creek, North Carolina, lies a place locals call Devil's Tramping Ground, a perfectly round clearing about 40 feet across where, for generations, nothing has grown. Surrounded by thick forest, the barren circle has puzzled both scientists and skeptics alike. Tests have been done on the soil, yet no one can explain why this small patch of earth refuses to sustain life. But local legend offers a darker answer. They say the ground is cursed, a place where the devil himself paces at night, wearing a path into the earth as he plots his next act of mischief. Visitors claim to hear faint, disembodied whispers drifting through the darkness, voices that seem to come from nowhere. Some who have dared to camp inside the circle report waking up miles away with no memory of how they got there. Others tell of shadowy figures watching from the tree line, always just out of reach and never daring to step inside the circle itself. Among those who've tested the legend is a YouTuber known as Kevin the Custodian Ghost Hunter. After 16 years of investigating haunted places without capturing anything truly unexplainable, he and his daughter Jade decided to visit Devil's Tramping Ground. What they recorded that night wasn't planned, and it wasn't something they noticed until later.
Get out here in a hurry.
As Kevin panned his camera across the clearing, something faint moved along the edge of the tree line. Subtle, but unmistakable. A shifting shape, almost human in outline.
Get out here in a hurry.
When they later reviewed the footage, there were no signs of editing, no glitches, nothing that hinted at manipulation. Whatever it was there. Some say it could have been mist or fog catching the light, but it didn't move like fog, it moved with intent. So, what did Kevin and Jade really capture that night? Was it something paranormal lurking just beyond the cursed circle? Or simply a trick of light in a place where legends never die? One thing's for certain. Sometimes it's not what you see in places like this that haunts you. It's what's watching, unseen, from the darkness just beyond. Rody is a YouTuber who documents his minimalist lifestyle, living out of his 2003 Tacoma while traveling for summer work. Most nights, it's peaceful, quiet, and uneventful. But one weekend would leave him questioning every decision he'd made about where to park for the night.
My camper shell is carpeted on the top here. I noticed that when it gets really cold at night, my camper shell will actually kind of contain some heat. It's usually maybe about 15 degrees warmer in here than it is in the outside. Another thing I'm not totally sure if I posted in the original video, but my windows on this camper shell are screened. So it allows me pretty much to open them up, get some fresh air in, but not have the bugs come in. Really works good, and that's big during the summer when bugs are out. I'm back living at my house now mostly, but was out this past weekend and was headed home.
After a long day on the road, he pulled off the freeway and found what seemed like a perfect spot. A small, empty parking lot tucked away in the dark. The camper shell on the back of his truck, with its tinted windows, offered privacy and just enough comfort to get some rest. From the outside, it looked like any other parked vehicle, silent, unremarkable. But around 1:30 in the morning, Rody woke to the sound of footsteps. Slow, careful. Someone was circling his truck. Through the tinted glass, he could barely make out a figure. A man holding up a phone, snapping pictures of his vehicle.
A little bit alarming. So what you'll see here in a second, he pulls out his phone and starts taking pictures. It looks like my license plate or something like that. I'm not sure why he was doing this. So I thought maybe, I wasn't allowed to park there and he was taking pictures of my license plate, but it's kind of odd to be doing that at 1:30 in the morning. And he didn't look like a security guard or anything like that.
The stranger had no idea anyone was inside. He made several slow laps, each one feeling more deliberate, more sinister. Then the man returned to the back of the truck. A bright flashlight beam suddenly cut through the darkness, scanning across the tinted windows, searching for a way to see in. Rody froze for a moment. Then, acting on pure instinct, slammed his hand hard against the glass. The reaction was instant. The man jumped back, startled, then bolted into the night, vanishing between the rows of parked cars. Rody didn't wait around. He started the engine and drove off without looking back.
So this is a good example of why I never really like to sleep in parking lots and stuff like that. During the summers, I live out of my truck a lot, but it's always at either work or campsite. Okay, guys, real quick, look at my door right here, and you'll notice it's a little bit cracked open. And so I think what happened is I forgot to, I didn't forget, but I just didn't close it all the way when I went to bed. And so it was locked, but it was still not totally closed all the way. So this is kind of how my door was. You can see it's closed. There's a little gap. It's locked. You're not going to get in there. But it's definitely noticeable from the side and everything.
Later, as the adrenaline faded, he realized how vulnerable he'd been. His privacy curtain, the the one separating his cab from the camper shell, had fallen during the night, leaving him completely exposed. The only thing protecting him had been a layer of tinted glass.
So another really nice thing to have if you are going to do some car camping, and I've talked about this in my previous videos, is a limo tinted windows on your camper shell. Not only will this not let people see into the back while you're sleeping, but it'll hide any belongings that you may have in the back. Alright, so that's about it. I just wanted to share my experience. I know some of you might think sleeping in your car or truck or whatever, car camping, might sound a little bit odd, but it's really a growing community right now. This kind of living off the grid thing, and that's not exactly what I do. I do it because I work as a guide during the summers, so that's primarily why I have this set up, but it's still really cool. I can go out and travel, and I pretty much always have somewhere to sleep. Although, you know, like I said earlier, I wouldn't suggest sleeping in random parking lots. I always try to stay at campsites, friends' places, work, places where I know that I'm allowed to be and that I know that I'll be safe at. But that's about it for this video. Check in my next video. I'm going to do some mods to my camper shell. So I'm going to do a little bit of renovating. I'm going to switch things up a little bit. I know I talked about in my last video how I really like the setup I have so far. But I'm going to change it around a little bit. I think I can get it a little.
That night was a stark reminder of how unpredictable life on the road can be. And somewhere out there, in parking lots across the country, that same stranger might still be wandering between vehicles, looking for another camper who doesn't realize they're being watched. Nick, an explorer known for documenting his journeys through eerie, forgotten places, takes on one of his most unnerving adventures yet. During a camping trip with friends, he decides to explore a network of narrow underground caves hidden deep in the wilderness. At first, it seems like a fun challenge, but as the group descends deeper, the passageways tighten to the point where Nick has to remove his backpack just to squeeze through. His friends move ahead, their voices echoing faintly in the dark, until suddenly, they're gone. When Nick calls out, no one answers.
Ребят! Ребят!
The cave swallows his voice, and just like that, he's completely alone. With no other choice, he crawls forward on his stomach, the ceiling so low that clusters of sleeping bats hang just inches above his head. Every tiny sound bounces off the stone walls, amplified by the confined space. The deeper he goes, the stranger things become.
Блять, с дыркой. Ой, блядь, какая хуйня там. Ой, бля, я так испугался, ребята. Смотрите.
His camera starts glitching without reason, flickering as he films a small alcove in the wall, a spot that looks ordinary but clearly isn't. Moments later, as he climbs over a rocky ledge, pebbles begin falling from above, almost as if someone, or something, is throwing them down.
Сейчас вам ее покажу. Что с камерой? Как будто моторчик камеры завелся, начал. Вверх такой же гору надо подниматься. Ох.
Ребят!
Then, his flashlight begins to fade. The darkness becomes absolute. A sudden, sharp noise cuts through the silence. Loud, close, and terrifying. Instinct takes over. Nick bolts forward, disoriented and unsure where he's running.
Я хочу сказать, что здесь тупик, и мне надо возвращаться побыстрее назад. Фух.
The twisting tunnels turning into a maze of panic and confusion. Eventually, he gives up searching for his friends and decides to retrace his path toward the entrance. But when he finally reaches the spot where he left his backpack, something's off. The gear has been moved, rummaged through, as if someone else had been there.
Ой, все. Да ну подождите, ребята. Что за бред? Блин. Что за... Что за... Меня все вытащили из рюкзака. Вроде ничего не взяли. Ребят, здесь кто-нибудь есть, ребят?
Later, while reviewing his footage, Nick notices something chilling. Two faintly glowing eyes in the darkness behind him. Whether they belong to an animal, a reflection, or something far more disturbing, no one can say for sure. The footage raises more questions than answers. So, what do you think? Did Nick stumble upon something truly unexplained deep within those caves? Or was it all just a series of eerie coincidences amplified by the dark? Philly and Keely, a van life couple documenting their travels across Europe, had spent days exploring the breathtaking monasteries of Meteora, Greece. Their journey was everything they'd hoped for: stunning views, ancient history, and the kind of peace only found in remote places. But after several freezing nights in the mountains, they decided to find somewhere warmer to rest. A decision that would turn their tranquil adventure into a night of sheer terror. They eventually settled on a campsite near some hot springs. The spot had mixed reviews, but it was the off-season. Quiet, empty, and seemingly safe. They convinced themselves it would be fine.
Alright guys, we've had a bit of downtime. We're about to go to sleep nice and early because I don't know if you remember, we're sunrise people now. Right?
Yeah, I'm excited.
If you remember, I drew a line in the sand. And you know, that line is here to stay. We'll see you in the morning.
As the night deepened, they wrapped up filming for the day, cooked dinner, and settled in to relax. Everything was calm, until it wasn't.
What are you shining your light for?
Where's your phone?
No! You're not police.
Out of nowhere, loud, violent banging shattered the silence, pounding on the sides of their van again and again. Startled, Philly and Keely froze. Through the windows, they could see movement, figures circling the vehicle. Whoever they weren't just passing by. The pounding continued, followed by muffled voices demanding they open the door. Each refusal made the intruders angrier, their banging more aggressive. In that moment, the couple realized exactly what was happening. Whoever was outside wasn't there by accident. They wanted in.
To give a little context, we'd been looking at park for night in this area. There's some hot springs, like we said, we wanted to come to hot springs. And we had read loads of horror stories on the park for nights. But then we knew other people who had been here, we messaged and they were like, no, it felt totally safe. And you know, it's out of season. So we've had where we've read park for nights before and had wonderful experiences. This was not that situation.
Alright guys, we parked up significant distance away from that other park up, but what can I say?
I'm really annoyed. Guys, the thing is for me, right, is the absolute audacity that they kept trying to get in the van and kept demanding that we open the van to them. And I'm like, what was their plan? Did they have a weapon? Were they trying to, like, how were they planning to steal everything while we were both here? Like,
well, I think we just did the right thing. We just jumped in and drove away, so... It's just annoying because it's something that it does kind of set you back, especially us as well, because this has happened to us quite a lot and we did actually get robbed. And it's just annoying because we've always had that fear in our heads, and when something like this happens, it just brings everything right back to the surface. And then there's going to be a healing process. It's going to just take time before you feel safe in the van again, you know.
But there's so many of our friends have never experienced anything, have never had attempted break-ins. I don't know what it is that we exude that this van looks very breakable, innable, but...
Anyway, we're gonna probably not get much sleep, but we'll catch you guys in the morning after a night of, I don't know, contemplation and...
Acting on instinct, Philly jumped into the driver's seat while Keely climbed beside him. With trembling hands, they started the engine and sped off into the night. As they drove away, their headlights caught a chilling sight. Several figures retreating into the nearby bushes, disappearing into the darkness as if they'd never been there. The entire encounter lasted only minutes, but it felt like an eternity. The couple didn't stop driving until they were miles away. Later, as the adrenaline faded, they sat in silence, shaken, confused, and wondering what had made them targets that night. What was supposed to be a peaceful evening near the hot springs had turned into something else entirely. A stark reminder that even in the most beautiful places on Earth, danger can still find you.